It's been a crazy month on YouTube, and I'm not even saying that just to say it. I mean that for real. I've been grinding like crazy, recording, editing, uploading, and thinking about content all the time. I've been personal on the channel. I've also been getting angry at creators, calling stuff out, speaking my mind, and somehow in the middle of all that, I even started a podcast with my wife. And if you told me a few months ago I'd be doing all of that, I probably wouldn't have believed you. Because here's the thing, that was never the plan. I didn't start YouTube to do all of that. I started YouTube because I wanted to game. That was it. That was the only goal. And when I actually started doing it, I realized something very, very quick. Making straight gaming content like Let's Plays or full walkthroughs, it just wasn't for me. I'll stream games, I'll hop on and play and have a fun time in the moment, but sitting there recording full playthroughs and things like that, it just doesn't feel the same for me. It doesn't feel natural. And that made me start thinking, why do I even love games this much in the first place? Like, what made this such a big part of my life? So let me give you some backstory. When I was a kid, I was outside all the time. If I wasn't watching Power Rangers, I was playing with friends and doing dumb stuff and just being a kid. But the one thing I remember more than anything else is gaming. That's the thing that stuck with me. I was born in '92, so I grew up through everything. The NES, SNES, the N64, the PS1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've seen the entire evolution of gaming from the ground up. And I played a lot of games. But out of all of those games, very few of them gave me a feeling that I couldn't get anywhere else. Not from friends, not from TV, not from anything. I'm talking about games that made me fall in love with the story, the characters, the gameplay. Games that made you feel like you were inside of something bigger than yourself. So I figured, since I've been opening up more on this channel and talking about things that actually matter to me, why not talk about the games that changed me? So, if you enjoy this kind of content, like the video. If you're interested in the kind of stuff that I'm into, comment down below and let me know what you want me to talk about next. And subscribe. We're only 3 away from 75. And I'm not gonna lie, that means a lot more to me than I thought it would. Because I've only been doing this for a couple of months. And I never expected this kind of attention. I didn't think I'd even hit 50 views on a video. And you guys have proven me wrong multiple times. So, genuinely, thank you for giving me your time, for clicking on my videos, for supporting me. It really does mean a lot. But alright, enough of me being in my feelings. Let's get into some other feelings. Let's talk about video games. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the first time I ever saw a video game console, it was the NES. That toaster-looking box, that big blocky brick of a controller. And at first I was kind of like, alright, this is cool. But then I saw the light gun. And I'm telling you right now, as a kid, that didn't even make sense to me. Like, how does this even work? You're telling me I can point this at the TV, pull the trigger, and it actually registers in the game? It felt like magic. There's no other way to explain it. And then I played Duck Hunt, and I was hooked instantly. I'm talking playing that game all day long, late into the night too, because in my head I really believed that playing in the dark made me better. Like I had some kind of secret advantage over the game. Did it actually help? Probably not. But in my mind, I was locked in, I was focused, I was different. And that feeling of just not wanting to stop, I felt that immediately. Like the second I started playing, I knew, yeah, I'm not putting this down anytime soon. And I didn't. But then something else happened that really messed me up as a kid. I found out there were 2 games on the same cartridge. 2. You gotta understand. Back then, that felt impossible. I thought Nintendo were wizards. Like, how are you fitting 2 full games on one thing? So now I'm switching between Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers like I just unlocked some kind of secret feature of reality. And then Mario? Man, I played that game until I literally couldn't anymore. I fell asleep with that controller in my hand more than once. And that's not even an exaggeration. That was the moment. That was the turning point. Because from that point on, gaming wasn't just something I did for fun. It became a part of me. And yeah, you could probably call it an addiction at that point, but honestly, I wouldn't change that for anything. Now we move into the SNES era. And I'm gonna say it straight up. This is my favorite console of all time. And I know people are gonna argue that. I know people are gonna say graphics are better now, or games are more advanced now. I don't care. These games had character. Real character. And the game that pulled me into the SNES the most was A Link to the Past. Now, I didn't play the original Zelda or Zelda 2 when I was younger, but honestly, I didn't need to, because A Link to the Past gave me everything. The colors, the world, the music, the puzzles, everything about it felt perfect. It felt alive. And this game is what made me fall in love with the Zelda franchise. And I never stopped loving it. I still play Zelda games to this day. I'm on my 4th run of Breath of the Wild. I beat Tears of the Kingdom. I went back later in life and played the original NES titles. And now I started collecting. I bought an original NES, and the first Zelda game I picked up as a collector was Zelda 2. But A Link to the Past, that's the one I need back. That's the one that means the most, because that game showed me that video games could be more than just something you play. They could be something you experience, something you remember, something that sticks with you years later, and that's exactly what that game did for me. Now Donkey Kong Country. And yeah, I know some of you have seen me rage at this game on stream, so you already know what time it is with this one. This game is hard. It will humble you extremely fast. But even with all that, I still love it. Because when I was a kid, this game looked insane to me. The way they made it look 3D, it blew my mind. I genuinely felt like I could reach into the screen and grab DK and pull him into my living room. That's how real it felt. And that's the thing about being a kid. Your imagination fills in everything. Games feel bigger, more real, more alive. And Donkey Kong Country did that perfectly. It pulled you in and made you believe what you were seeing. Now yeah, as an adult, this game makes me want to lose my mind sometimes. And I'm not even gonna lie. The last time I played it, I got so frustrated I had to take a break. I haven't touched the game since. I needed a rest. But that's the relationship I have with games. I love it, and I hate it. And I wouldn't want it any other way. And don't worry, Retro Weekend is coming back. And when I come back, I'm coming back ready. Full focus, no excuses. Well, hopefully. Now this one isn't even a question. If you've watched my channel at all, you already know this was coming. Pokemon Red didn't just impact me, it changed me. And the craziest part about it, I wasn't even really supposed to have it. Back then, Pokemon was getting dragged through the mud. I'm talking news reports, newspapers, parents saying it was demonic. This was a real thing at the time, and my parents were heavily religious. So when I asked for Pokemon, yeah, that wasn't an easy sell. I had to argue my case like I was in court. I promise it's just a game. There's nothing bad about it. It's not what they're saying it is. I was fighting for my life trying to convince them. And somehow, some way, it worked. They took me to the store. I remember seeing that box with Charizard on it, and I was locked in. That image alone sold me. I got the game, brought it home, popped it in, and that was it. I played that game until there was nothing left to do. And when I ran out of things to do, I started over, immediately. No hesitation. I only had 2 games on Game Boy, Pokemon Red and Zelda Oracle of Seasons. That was it, and I was perfectly fine with that. Because Pokemon alone could carry everything. That game took over my life. I'm talking games, cards, everything you could think of. I played every main game up to Gen 3. Then I shifted into collecting cards. Then Gen 6 dropped and I came right back like I never left. Bought a 3DS, got back into it, started learning competitive battling. I was deep into it. And even now, it's still a part of me. I've got giant Pokemon plushies. I've named pets after Pokemon. Like, this isn't a phase that ended. This is just part of who I am at this point. And it all started from that one moment as a kid, getting that game in my hands, and that was the switch. And I'll always be grateful for that. Now, on the other side of things, there's Yu-Gi-Oh! And this one is funny to me because this is a perfect example of loving something without having any idea what you're doing. I watched the anime first, and if you watched Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid, you already know. That show made everything look intense. Every duel felt like the fate of the world was on the line. So when I found out there was a game on PS1, I needed it immediately. But again, the same situation as Pokemon. My parents looked at it, and they said, yeah, I don't know about this. They thought I was too young. They thought the monsters were too much. And I'm sitting there like, no, trust me, I can handle this. So I did what I had to do. I convinced them. And for my birthday, there it was. Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories. I popped that game in and I played it for hours, non-stop. Now here's the funny part. I had no idea how to actually play the game. None. I was just throwing cards down, hoping for the best, somehow winning sometimes and losing most of the time, but still having the time of my life. To be honest, I didn't actually understand how the game worked until I was 22 years old. That means for years, I was just out there freestyling, but that didn't stop anything. I still loved it. I bought cards, still played, and I still do to this day. And yes, my wife hates how many cards I have, because they're everywhere. And she's probably wondering why I need more. But let's be honest, I'm not stopping. That's just not happening. And honestly, I would never want to. Now, if you've never played Crash Bandicoot, I'm not even gonna joke about it. I feel bad for you. Because this game, this was something special. This was one of those games that felt like you were playing a cartoon. Like a full-on 3D cartoon that you were in control of. The level design, the characters, the animations, everything about it just worked. It was fun, it was chaotic, it was memorable. And yeah, it was hard. Trying to go for all the gems, that's where the game stops being fun and starts testing your patience. I've tried it multiple times. And every time I get a few levels in and I'm like, I'm okay. Because that's a different level of stress. But when you're talking about casually, just playing through it normally, I could do that for hours, no problem. And honestly, I've been thinking, when I hit 1,000 subs, I might do a 24-hour Crash Bandicoot run. Just sit there and see how many of the games I can beat in one go. Now, is it a good idea? Probably not. Is it gonna hurt? Absolutely. But it might be worth it. And if that's something you want to see, you already know what to do. Now I gotta talk about something important here.
Family, 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 family.
Because that's what this really is all about. Fast and Furious introduced me to car culture. Before that, I didn't care about cars like that. But then I saw those movies. Dom's RX-7, Brian's Supra, and then the Skyline R34. And yeah, I'm saying it right now. That is the most perfect car ever made. I don't care about the Bugattis. I do not care about the Lamborghinis. The Skyline? That's different. That is the true definition of lightning in a bottle. Then Need for Speed Underground came along, and it brought all of that into a game, and I was completely hooked. Now I know people say Underground 2 is better, but I never really got to play it like that. But the first Underground, that was my game. I played it non-stop. I even bought a cheat code book from the school book fair, just so I could unlock everything. Not even to beat the game easier, but just to customize the cars. That's it. I would sit there for hours building cars, tweaking them, changing them, and if I didn't like how it looked, start over, do it again, perfect it. I treated it like art. And then you had the game modes. Drifting felt great. Drag racing felt intense. I would literally recreate scenes from the Fast and Furious in my head while playing. Like I was directing a movie. That game took so much of my time, and I wouldn't trade that time for anything. Now this one. This one goes deeper than just a game, because Tony Hawk didn't just entertain me. It introduced me to something I didn't even know existed. Before Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I didn't think about skateboarding at all. It wasn't on my radar. But then I played it, and I saw what people could do on a skateboard, and it didn't even look real. It looked like art in motion. Like how are you jumping in the air, flipping a piece of wood, and landing perfectly, and rolling away like nothing happened? It didn't make sense to me, but it looked incredible. And then Tony Hawk's Underground came out, and that changed everything. Because now it wasn't just doing tricks, now there was a story. Now I'm playing as someone starting from nothing, working their way up, trying to become a pro, and dealing with people around them changing, using them, and switching up. As a kid, you don't fully process all of that, but you feel it. And that game made me want to skate for real. Not just in a game, but in real life. And when I actually started skating, that game was influencing everything. The brands I used, the setup I rode, everything. I always had an Almost board with Grind King trucks, Ricta wheels, Bones Red bearings, Mob grip tape, audio shoes, every time. That was my setup. That was my identity. And yeah, as I got older, things changed. I started skating with Nike and Supra, but that was only because audio went out of business. And if you know, you know. The Ray V4s, that shoe meant something. I would trade a lot of the shoes out now just to have that back. That's how deep that goes. And even beyond that, the PS2 era of Tony Hawk games is untouchable. You have Underground 1 and 2, you have American Wasteland, you have Project 8, and that run right there, that's peak. That's what made skateboarding feel alive to me. That's what got me into it, and that's why even now, I still follow skate culture. I still watch videos, pay attention to events, because it all started right there. And I can't just talk about Tony Hawk without at least mentioning skate, because skate changed everything in a completely different way. See, Tony Hawk was fast, arcade style, and over the top. Skate slowed everything down, made it more realistic, more technical. Now you're using the thumbsticks to control your tricks. Actually, thinking about what you're doing, it felt different. I don't want to go too deep into it here because, honestly, skate deserves its own full video, especially from the perspective of someone who actually skated. So I'm gonna save it. But just know that game mattered too. A lot. Now this one is newer. And I know some people might look at it like this and be like, well, you're putting a newer game on a list like this? Yeah, I am. Because this game gave me something I haven't felt in a long time. It made me feel like I was a kid again. And that doesn't happen often, especially now. Because when you've been playing games as long as I have, you start to see patterns, you start to predict things. You don't get surprised as easily. But Expedition 33? That game pulled me in. The story, the characters, the emotion behind everything. It just hits different. When I first saw Gustav and heard him talk about the woman he loves, I already knew this was gonna be something special. And yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. At first, I thought it was Robert Pattinson. I really did. They look that similar. But aside from that, I haven't been this locked into a game story in a long time. And I don't want to spoil anything because this is one of those games you need to experience for yourself. But just know this, if you're looking for an RPG with a real story and real emotion and an art style that actually stands out, play this game. Seriously. At some point I will be doing a full spoiler review on it at some point because there is a lot to talk about. I just gotta get through everything else I've been working on first. But now we get to it. The most important one. Kingdom Hearts. And I'm gonna say this right now. I love every game I've talked about so far. Every single one of them means something to me. But if you told me I could only keep one, only one series, I'm choosing Kingdom Hearts. Every time, no hesitation. Because this wasn't just a game to me. This was an experience. I liked Final Fantasy before this, but it never fully pulled me in. It had everything I should have liked, but something just didn't click all the way. And then Square made the craziest decision possible. They teamed up with Disney, and somehow, some way, they made it work. And not just work, they made something special. Something that shouldn't have worked on paper, but ended up being one of the greatest gaming experiences ever made. And I was hooked instantly. I could sit here for hours talking about Kingdom Hearts. And honestly, I probably will in a full video because there's too much to cover. But just to show you how much this game means to me, I named my daughter Kairi. That's not a joke. That's real. And if my wife would have let me, I would have named my son Sora and Riku too. But she wasn't going for that. So Kairi was the one that made it through. But that should tell you everything you need to know. This game meant that much to me. The story? Yeah, it's complicated. Well, very complicated. The timeline is all over the place. There's a million games you gotta play to understand everything fully. But once you're in it, you are in it. And it doesn't matter anymore. Because it stops being confusing and starts being an experience. You're traveling through Disney worlds, living through moments from movies in a completely different way, like Mulan, Beauty and the Beast, Tarzan, Nightmare Before Christmas. You go into the Olympus Coliseum, and you're even in Tron, and it all somehow fits together. And the combat? Perfect. The Keyblade? One of the coolest weapons ever designed. And in all reality, if you're not dual-wielding Oathkeeper and Oblivion, I don't know what you're doing. I really don't. And then you've got characters like Riku. Mickey. Let's talk about Mickey for a second. Because Mickey was different in this game. This wasn't regular Mickey. This was, I'm stepping into the darkness and fighting Heartless like it's nothing Mickey. This was Yoda Mickey. Every time he showed up, it meant something. And then you got Terra, Aqua, Ventus, you have the Keyblade War, the Keyblade Graveyard, some of the most beautiful and powerful moments in gaming. This is the precipice. I don't care if you like JRPGs. This game goes beyond that. It's not just a genre, it's an experience. And this is 100% getting its own full-length video, because I'm already working on it. There's too much here not to. But yeah, this is my list. Those are the games that meant something to me. The ones that stuck with me. The ones that helped shape who I am. Now I want to hear from you. What games meant something to you? What games changed you? Drop them in the comments. I'll actually read all that stuff. And I like seeing what other people grew up on. And if you want more videos like this, let me know. Because I like doing stuff like this. I like talking about all of this. Not just what's going on with creators, but the things that actually stick with us. The nostalgic stuff, the real stuff. And again, I just want to say thank you for all the support, for watching, for sticking around. It really does mean a lot to me. And if you want to be more involved with the community, join the Discord. We're going to have a section there where you can suggest videos for me. And I'll even let you promote your own content. Because creators should support creators. And that's how I look at it. But yeah. If you enjoyed the video, like it. Comment Keyblade if you made it all the way to the end. And subscribe if you want more content like this. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And I'll see you in the next one.